So it was a huge win that she got to go. But apparently, allegedly, the Guardian sent her with a credit card to Florida, to Miami for her father's birthday with no money on it.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw Podcast, Raw Rundown, where we give you the top 10 stories of the week. How do we pick the top 10 stories? It goes by Google search, it goes by data, and lastly, it goes by a personal opinion.
Are you okay? You don't seem very excited, Adam. Are you okay on this this Friday morning?
I don't know. Adam, my voice, honestly, I was doing pretty well. Then as soon as you said, all right, let's start, my voice just changed. So I'm doing all right.
Just want to make sure you're good. You're mentally good. I don't know. I feel like I want to lean over and give you a hug or something. You seem down.
No, I'm not down. I'm like just, I'm chilling. I'm hanging. Do you like my hat, by the way? I'm wearing a
nice.
Bucky. Do you know Bucky's?
I know what it is. I've never been to one because they don't have them out here in California. But I went to Atlanta once and I saw people with that. I'm like, what is this? So I know about Bucky's. I've never been to one.
I never been to one either, but they look pretty cool. I know probably some of our audience is like, you never been to Bucky's? I'm like, I've seen the videos on some of my social media, but I've never been. My parents actually got me this hat at a truck stop. Actually, one thing I saw on my social media this week, and I'm so pissed I missed this, Dax, is that I didn't even know about this. There was a reopening of Planet Hollywood in New York. Can you believe they reopened Planet Hollywood? I'm so upset. A, I didn't get the invite. B, I didn't know about it. C, I mean, I never get invited anywhere, but still, I would have loved to just cover the outside and see like the random people that were invited for this event because, I mean, Planet Hollywood, that is ridiculous.
I did see it. I'm not totally surprised just because they obviously have the Vegas hotels, so I feel like I still see Planet Hollywood a lot. But the restaurants, those were the biggest things when we were younger. I remember, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and all these people that were associated with Planet Hollywood back in the day when it was like the cool restaurant to go to see all the memorabilia and all that kind of stuff. So kind of fun to see that they're opening one. We'll see how it does. But I saw that Alec Baldwin showed up to that. I saw Pete Davidson was there. Arnold.
Food God, Boy George was there. And I just couldn't believe, though, like, again, those people, 50 Cent, Pete Davidson, they must have been paid a pretty good amount of money. Whoopi Goldberg was there. Like, they must have got paid each, I would say, 50 Cent probably. I would say Pete was probably like 50 just for him to walk in the door.
$50,000?
Yeah, that's my guess for Pete to walk in the door. And be there for 30 minutes, go on the red carpet, take a few photos, take a lap, and that's it. 50 grand.
I would say for them, that was probably money well spent just because who would have covered the opening of a Planet Hollywood had there not been celebrities there?
You know what? Money well spent. Is it still moving the needle? I mean, yes, we're talking about Planet Hollywood right now, but let's talk about this 2 weeks now. Do they make their money back? The New York City real estate. I mean, how many people are going there and say, hey, I'll have the Sylvester Stallone disco fries? Like, that's just not what happened. It's funny because like when people come up to me like, hey, where should we go to see celebrities? I always make a dumb joke. I say, go to Planet Hollywood. That's where they all go. And it's so random. Like who's just like, hey, let's go eat at Planet Hollywood. But what do I know?
Never, ever see a celeb there ever.
My buddies, I had a lot of people who went. They said it was the biggest shit show. They said it was just like so unorganized, just total chaos. Everyone was like, it was just random. Like, what is going on? They're handing out caviar. And then people are like, but we're at Planet Hollywood. And then it was just,
I just want a burger. I don't want caviar.
I like to try caviar to say I had it, but that's it. All right. Before we get to the top 10 stories of the week, Dax, do you have a review ready for us?
I got one. All right. This one is a 5-star review. It comes from Dana Karcher. It says, I raw dog my way through Hollywood with these guys weekly. So that's the headline of it. And it says, hey, Adam and Dax, or Dax and Adam, let's be fair. I just wanted to say how much I truly enjoy your podcast. It's the only one I find myself coming back to week after week. Thank you for all the hard work you put into it. I know it's not always easy, but you two make it look fun. P.S. America, let's lighten up a bit. Bring back Matt Lauer. Oh boy, This is gonna go for you. That is hilarious, Dana. Thank you. I rawed on my way through Hollywood with these guys. I love that headline so much.
I just love the PS. Let's light up a bit. Bring back Matt Lauer. Like we start screaming after golf swings. Like if you're watching like the Masters, when everyone's all quiet, and as soon as they swing, you make noise. Like they swing. Bring back Matt Lauer. What? That's the new
what
chant.
Are you talking about?
Bring back. That's great. All right, Dax. Let's get to the top 10 stories of the week, starting with number 10.
Number 10, Kim Kardashian made a bunch of news this week. She was on a recent episode of the Keeping Up with the Kardashians, or no, it's called The Kardashians now. Sorry, I'm still so used to Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but it's the Kardashians. She was talking about engagement rings with ex-husbands, and she was doing this all with Khloe. And at one point, she kind of did a pretty big dig at Kris Humphries, her ex, and basically calling him cheap. She reveals that he proposed to her with this 18-karat emerald cut ring from Lorraine Schwartz, which, was an upgrade from her previous husband, Damon Thomas. But basically said that she no longer has the proposal ring, claiming that she was pregnant with her daughter North during their divorce, and Kris apparently insisted on giving it back in order to cut ties. Well, she said that she actually paid for the majority of the ring, and Kris only, I guess, chipped in for a fifth of the ring price. Is that kind of messed up to like be talking about this now? And I also think like Kim was always over the top and needed that wedding needed to be the wedding of the century, the whole thing. So I kind of feel like at a point, if you want this ridiculous ass ring and I'm not going to be able to afford it, yeah, you got to chip in. I think it's pretty normal for some of these big celebs like Jessica Alba, who clearly made way more money than Cash Warren, to be like, okay, well, I want this ring. I want to show off. So you pay for a little bit and I'll pay for the rest, right? Like,
yeah, I think there's also has to be a conversation. Say, hey, we want to get engaged. That's great. Here's my budget. This is what I'm financially able to do. For her to have an issue with it,
or just to make him look bad, where it's like, dude, you were the one that was flashy. You needed this gigantic rock to be a centerpiece for you. If you want that, you pay for it.
Also for him to look bad, but also she might not have understood his contract with the NBA. Sometimes with these players, we think, oh, they're making so much money, but that longevity of making that money is only so long. And they're fortunate if they're able to kind of make that type of money after their career, because that money train could kind of stop. They're lucky, if they can make a 6-figure job. I help out with a lot of NFL players where the average NFL career is 3 years. The average NFL career is 3 years. So we hear about the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings who are signing these huge deals, but there's 40 other players on the team that might have made, 400, 600 grand. Plus you have to give 50% to that, your representation, your agent, your lawyer, taxes. So after what you take home, there's, and Kris might have been thinking like that. Who knows? I don't know what his contract was at that time, but I don't think he was making as much money as you think. And maybe she thought there's going to be a lot of money coming in. Maybe it's a tough thing to say. And Kim's going to get a lot of shit over it.
How much is an 18-karat diamond ring? $2 million or something stupid? Like, that's a lot of freaking money, dude, to spend on a ring for, they were married for 72 days. So he actually kind of won out on that one.
He just went off. I think he lives in Minnesota now. I think they own like a hamburger place, like a Five Guys or something like that. Like he kind of went into normal person.
I guess the really only part that I do have an issue with is if he only paid for 1/5 of it, why did she have to give it back to him? That would probably be the only thing that if she bought it or she did the majority of it because she needed this big ring, she should be able to keep it, or she should be able to be the one to sell it, and recoup that money. That would be the only part that I would say was not fair.
Fair take. Very fair take. Good perspective. Dax, number 9.
R. Kelly is being dragged online. Shocker, shocker. Because he jumped onto a trend this week, or at least people believe that it's him. There's a verse from Chris Brown's 2024 song Residuals that people have been kind of jumping on, and it says it's a collect call from prison, and then it like is the person singing. Well, R. Kelly's voice appears to be what people believe is him. Other people are saying there's no way he would have had to call out of prison so many times to be able to do all the different layers of music in here. Someone had to have been on the outside producing this, mixing this song to make it sound good. And so people are not happy with the fact that this guy is facing over 30 years in prison and still trying to get press off of a song. Did you hear it? Do you think it's actually him?
I don't know, but it's just crazy that he's doing, like, to come out with this comment, like, I've made this amount of music in jail. To be his prison mate is got to be so unique and interesting, because he's probably just spilling everything, telling the guy who knows everything that's going on in R. Kelly's life. The truth is probably the guy who's sharing a prison cell with R. Kelly more than the lawyer.
Right.
Because if I was R. Kelly's lawyer, the first thing I would say is, all right, tell me the truth. Let's start from the beginning. Did you or did you not? Did you honestly, were you with underage women? Tell me the truth, and then we'll start to make up the lie and figure out the story and make up our own story.
If you were in a cell with him, would you be just taking notes of all of the conversations that you had? You're like, I'm going to sell the book, and the book's going to be called R. Kelly's Prison Mate.
Prison Mate, not butt mate.
Reveal all.
Yeah, it would be a good book. Like, if you want to make money in prison, you be the ghostwriter for R. Kelly. Like, tell me the truth. But yeah, to say that he's made this much music, I just want to see what he looks like. I want to see, like, the day-to-day, not having the style, the makeup artist, all the people with him. Wait, did I ever tell you my R. Kelly story?
Yes.
Okay, never mind then. Carry on.
When he peed on you, and then it was like kind of weird, but you like went with it.
Yeah, he just took his vitamins, so it was very yellow. I was like, dude. He was like, yeah, I just took some fish oil. I was like, okay, never mind. Carry on. Back to it. R. Kelly was a big guy. He was a big dude when I met him. And also, like, I remember trying to get him to say these lines on camera, and I was so scared because it wasn't necessarily from him, because he honestly didn't seem that intelligent. But I remember the people around him were like, are you serious? Like, are you what? I'm like, yeah, these people set me up. I was like, I wish this was all on camera because I'm about to get my ass beat. All right, Dax, number 8.
All right, number 8. There is a Marvel star, a big, huge Marvel star, who is revealing that Eminem once tricked him during a movie. So if you remember, Anthony Mackie was he was in 8 Mile all those years back. Obviously, 8 Mile became this huge phenomenon, brought in like $242 million worldwide, and they had only shot it for like 41 million. So it was a big deal back in the day. Well, Anthony Mackie, I had even forgotten that he was in 8 Mile. He was basically the rival rapper against Eminem back in that movie. And Anthony did a podcast this week talking about, it was the Pivot podcast, talking about how Eminem tricked him and said that they were on set, they were talking, and talking about this scene where they had to do this rap battle, and it was obviously all scripted out, all that kind of stuff. And I guess before the scene, M had pulled him aside, and they were talking about their life and talking about how he grew up at like this, prestigious. He went to this prestigious school and all this kind of stuff. And the next day came back and they do this rap battle, and Eminem starts rapping about Anthony Mackie's real life and turned it into a bunch of disses and threw it to him on the movie set. And Anthony's like, this motherfucker just totally screwed me over. He took my real life. He didn't take what was about the character. He took what was about me and used it against me on his set. And it turned into obviously a big part of the movie. But he said he was actually like pissed while he was in there. Which what a brilliant move on M's part, because
so good.
Then you see like the real reaction from Anthony Mackie. You see it like set in the movie, and I think that's what makes Eminem so brilliant, is just who he is. And that movie was obviously lightly based around his story growing up in Detroit, but I love it. That's so funny.
It's so good by Eminem. I wonder if someone told him to do that to get a good reaction at Anthony Mackie. The other part is that movie, looking back, was it was a good movie, and we don't give Eminem enough credit at how difficult, I think a lot of actors would say, how difficult it is to play yourself. And it was just a great movie. I don't know if Eminem could play other roles, but in that movie, he just did a phenomenal job.
What a gangsta move to basically come in, play a role, and then like that's it. And you walked away with an Oscar for the song. You didn't do anything else. You didn't try to then like become this big actor in Hollywood. You did your thing. You moved. Do you remember when he didn't even show up to the Oscars that year that he won?
What was that? Remind me. I don't remember that.
That was back when he won for Lose Yourself.
Really?
He didn't show up. Yeah. He didn't show up to the Oscars. He was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know.
Things that I remember. Why do I take up space in my brain with this crap? I don't know.
No, but good going after Anthony Mackie because he's one of the worst out there. From my experiences, yeah, he stinks. Not a nice guy.
Adam hates Anthony Mackie.
Dude. You want to talk about a guy who's so unlikable? Like he's not a nice guy. Like he looks at you like he wants to fight you. Like, dude, I just said, hey, congrats on the movie. Like, good job. Like, terrible. All right, what's next, Dax?
What number are we? We are number 7. Yes. Drew Barrymore opening about her having to do some plastic surgery when she was 17.
That's insane. It's plastic surgery at 17. But
it was not like she did her face or something.
I know, so it's a crazy headline.
Yeah, she underwent a breast reduction back in the day. She had a lot of back problems and issues, and so she ended up getting a breast reduction. I don't think she considers that like plastic surgery because she had said in the past that she has never done any plastic surgery. She's not, planning on doing any. She wants to age gracefully. She wants to show her kids that like it's okay to age and accept your age. She's even said she didn't do Botox, anything like that. And I wouldn't consider a breast reduction necessarily plastic surgery.
Not at all. But then that's why the headline is very clickbaity because, like, whoa, 17 years old getting plastic surgery. Like, no, she just got a breast reduction, which I know other 17-year-olds that have done that.
I remember
not like I grew up with, not like also, I know 17. By the way, let me just clarify. I don't know 17-year-olds currently that are doing that. But when I was 17, I knew like 2 other 17-year-olds who did that. So I don't really judge them for that.
Didn't like Soleil Moon Frye also very famously go through a breast reduction back in like the day?
She was like the first person who got them that I heard that you could do them. I'm like, why? I was like making a big deal. Like, this is terrible. Like that like hurt me.
Yeah.
Because I had the biggest crush on Soleil Moon Frye. You look like you're a Punky Brewster fan.
I was a Punky Brewster fan. And I got to say one of the moments that I look back on really fondly as I was doing this interview with her at her house in the tree house in her backyard. Think about that. Like I'm interviewing Punky Brewster in her tree house. Like that was so cool.
Yeah.
It never aired anywhere, but in my mind it goes down in history.
That's pretty cool.
Just like when I interviewed Tony Hawk in his skate park in his backyard was also pretty damn cool.
Did she have a nice house?
Yeah, she had a beautiful home. Yeah, beautiful home.
Well, her husband did really well. I think they're currently married. Her ex-husband was like a TV producer.
That's true. Yeah, he was a big producer, but no, she had a gorgeous house.
It's so funny how many actors and actresses marry producers.
Well, it's smart. It's like you're around all these people. I think it's smarter to marry the producers versus another celeb because that just puts pressure on a relationship. Now you're like either competing for the spotlight, or if one person their fame starts to fade and the other one takes off, then there's jealousy about the careers. Like it's better to just date someone who you're not competing against and look for the limelight.
Also to have like the 360 kind of like of Hollywood in your hand. Like, okay, I'll cover the on-camera stuff. You cover the off-camera stuff. We're a team here. And then at night, we'll do butt stuff. And then I don't know. It's all about teamwork. Dax, number 6.
Teamwork. Sydney Sweeney. A lot of people asking some questions about whether or not her and her fiance have broken up. What is happening? There's a bit of an unusual living situation or arrangement that they've got going on right now. If you remember, they got engaged, I want to say back in 2022. This became a huge news story. And then she was kind of whisked away to France for a while and without her partner. And now we find out that she's been living at the Beverly Hills Hotel for quite some time. And this is with her, like her friends show up. She's eating at the Polo Lounge a bunch inside the hotel. She was recently seen the other day with Lauren Sanchez, which is Jeff Bezos' fiance. But it seems like she's living at the hotel without him. So a lot of people are speculating that these two have broken up and they're just not announcing it yet to the world. Because we're not really seeing them spend too much time together, and maybe they rushed into this engagement and decided this wasn't the best for them or whatever the situation is. But a lot of questions circulating to the status of their engagement.
Do you think this is Sydney Sweeney just working the PR, the celebrity route again? And again, I love Sydney Sweeney because I feel like she understands the Hollywood game, the Hollywood landscape so much. But she's just working it right now because, when her being single makes more eyeballs on her, in my opinion, makes her gettable for all the audience at home. Some dudes at home like, oh, I could possibly get her as they sit home and have to wake up early to clean a pool tomorrow. So it's just, I don't know. I think this is her just working the system a little bit, keeping her name out there, fun, and just screwing around.
We've said it before. She is the queen of
she's
getting
so
headlines.
Good.
She is so good at it. She follows like the Kim Kardashian model of anything's news, and people like the drama. People like the drama around her. But I would say, why go all through that? It's got to be so expensive to be living at a hotel, especially like the Beverly Hills Hotel, or it's a really expensive place. So that'd be the only thing is like, why live there? Go rent a home or something, because you're going to probably save more money in the long run.
Yeah, I think that I think she's working it. I don't think this is. She's like, I want you guys to keep talking about me. I want you to question I'm single, but don't. I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy. When you make it in Hollywood, for someone like her, when she doesn't have to live in Hollywood anymore and she could just work in the business. I think that's the ultimate success thing. Like, because she has that cool place in Florida now. She's like, yeah, I don't need to be in LA anymore to work in the industry anymore. Like, I could be in Florida, get work, fly to LA, do my job, and go back to Florida. I mean, and pay Florida taxes. It's a no-brainer. So she's crushing it. She's winning it. Good for her. I don't know.
Good for her is right.
Good for her. Dax, number 5.
Everyone's been asking, who would Kristin Cavallari get back with if she had to choose one of her exes? Isn't that the question you've been asking every day, Adam?
I think about that so much, but who is the person Kristin Cavallari would get? Which one of her exes would she get back with if she had?
Yeah, this became a news story because she was doing a live taping of her Let's Be Honest podcast, and they were at their Boston stop, and one of the fans asked her which ex she'd spend the rest of her life with if she was forced to choose, and she kind of joked at first. She's like, honestly, I'd fucking rather die. But then, being Kristin Cavallari, she said, look, I need to answer this question. It's a fan question. I'm going to answer it. And keep in mind, she's dated, while she was married to Jay Cutler, she had that fling with Morgan Wallen. She had other famous flings like Stephen Colletti, Brody Jenner. I mean, kind of the list goes on. And she also spoke about who was the other big person? Jason Statham. Didn't she mention him recently?
Yeah.
So who do you think she chose out of those guys?
I would say Jason Statham.
Just kidding. I didn't say his name, but it was Mark. Mark Estes is who she chose.
The Montana Boys, whatever it was.
Montana Boys guy.
The young kid.
Yep. So
she might have been saying that not to like hurt his feelings though too.
She has spoken so highly of him every time. She basically said that his, the sex would be amazing, and that's why she would choose him for the rest of her life. And remember, when they broke up, it was very peaceful. It was like, hey, this is just, it's not working out. He's in a different point in his life. I'm much older. I've got kids. He needs to go and experience being a father and living his dreams. And I felt like she never had anything bad to say about him. And so she chalks it up to she would have the best sex of her life for the rest of eternity.
I don't think she has anything bad to say about Morgan Wallen either. It seems like it was just like a fun relationship. It never really became them hanging out or becoming really ultimately exclusive. But she did talk about how they had her and had the young kid, the young kid, whatever his name is, Mark, had a really good connection. So
yeah,
she again, Kristin Cavallari, smart girl, working the system. She probably is not going to respond, but obviously you guys will know. I just DM'd her this morning and I said, hey, can we do a setup shot today? And I just want to see if she'll do it. She's done them in the past, and I was like, that'd be cool if we do it. Now, so I don't know. That'd be nice if we do a setup shot. All right, Dax, number 4.
Jay-Z and this accusation that was heard around the world with the woman who said that he basically with Diddy raped her when she was 13 years old. There is now a new layer. She's obviously withdrawn that whole lawsuit, and it apparently is her telling a private investigator on tape that her lawyer pushed her to sue Jay-Z, and that he wasn't even there at the time of whatever went down with P. Diddy. So this is the woman who said she was 13 when Jay-Z Carter and Sean Diddy Combs allegedly sexually assaulted her at the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. She is now heard on a recording agreeing that Jay-Z did not assault her and saying that her lawyer pushed her to sue him. The woman in the lawsuit has been, like I said, has since withdrawn this whole thing. But according to an excerpt of it obtained by TMZ, ABC News, between the woman who is identified as Jane Doe and 2 private investigators who are associated with Carter, the quote goes on, "He was just there, but he didn't have anything to do with any sexual acts towards you," the private investigator asks. She responded, "Yes." And he was one, and I guess when it comes to the lawyer, she said he was the one of a kind he was the one that kind of pushed me towards going forward with him, with Jay-Z. Busby did, the investigator asked. Yes, the woman replied. And Busby is now calling this whole thing a blatant lie.
Wow.
But it seems like that is on tape now. I think this is huge, not only for Jay-Z, it is huge for Diddy. And I will tell you why it's huge for Diddy. It now puts Tony Busby's credibility completely on the line. How do you go into court and go to a trial against Diddy when now you've been proven that you can't be trusted and that the lawsuits that you are representing are not true? Again, this is according to these private investigators. Busby is saying it's all fake, but you've got this woman who filed a lawsuit against him, removed the lawsuit, and now saying that it all is all the lawyer's doing. That's wild.
That is wild. I mean, look at Jay-Z throwing a life jacket to P. Diddy with this thing. But I think Jay-Z ultimately wanted to really clear his name. He wanted to say, I didn't have anything. This is so fake that I'm going to come after these people. And not only does this girl, Jane Doe, that's what we're giving her the name as, her story, obviously, but hers a lot of other people's stories, because now it's like you want to take the victim's side, especially when it comes to cases like this. But now it makes you really question. People are starting to stick up for themselves even more and more, like, hey, what exactly happened? But
we said this from the beginning. Jay-Z did not back down from day one. He was like, remember this lawsuit was filed, and like the next day he was out walking the red carpet with Blue Ivy for the new Lion King movie, and we were like, wow, shocked to see him out in public. And it was because from the beginning he was like, I'm not hiding away from this shit. Like, it's not true. I'm not hiding away. Interesting to see that where we are at talking about it now, months later.
Speaking of which, less than 2 months away from P. Diddy's first court case.
Yep.
It's going to be fun. I mean, not fun. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting. I don't want to say fun. It's going to be a wild time. I mean, I know that the reports are going to be crazy. Everyone's going to be waiting to see, are the videos going to be released, which we'll probably never get to see what actually happened on those tapes. It's crazy that it had so many tapes, but yes, it's going to be pretty interesting. Dax, number 3.
Number 3, the new Snow White remake is getting a lot of interesting reactions online. Number one, because people feel that it is way too woke. They dumped the whole dwarf actors, and they dumped the sexist romance. And now the premiere is being relocated or is being done in a remote Spanish castle, which is got a lot of eyebrows raised because they're like, wait, you spent over $269 million to make this movie, and now you've basically canceled the premieres in Hollywood and New York, and you're doing it in this far off castle. Granted, let me give you the background behind this castle. This castle was apparently like the inspiration for the castle in the Snow White movie, or I guess back in the day, the Snow White movie. And so there's some significance for it being there, but they've canceled all the press that is supposed to show up. It's only really like photographers, and they've really minimized any interactions with the cast. You've got Rachel Zegler and what's her name? What's Wonder Woman?
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot is in this movie, and they're like limiting any press. And I think there's been just such a massive backlash with this like woke narrative that people are not happy about it. And so that's why they apparently are kind of limiting any type of big press around the movie, which I think is going to end up killing this movie.
Yeah, this movie, which was a huge budget, usually when there's huge budgets, there's usually huge marketing around the movie. I mean, this movie's coming around the corner now, and there's been no anticipation for this movie. There's been no excitement for this movie. There's been no really.
No, but like the premiere is when you get even more excitement. You see Gal Gadot, you see Rachel walking the red carpet. Like it brings up the excitement level, and for them to like have kind of canceled all of it and made it remote, that really hurts the movie.
It definitely hurts the movie, but also there's a big marketing behind these movies as well. Sometimes you see the celebrities start to do a little bit more press and they haven't done anything. They haven't done anything for this movie. Even the trailer, you'd start to see paid advertisements for the trailer, but there's been no real paid marketing behind it. I saw the trailer, and to be honest with you, I was not excited for them. I just don't think the movie's that great from what I've seen. And I think also when it comes to a movie like this too, not just like the people getting backlash for being woke. The movie costs a lot of money to make, and now the movie's out, and now people see the final product, and they're like, it's not that great a movie. And I just think they don't want to push it because I don't think they were responsible for a movie that was a flop. I mean, the same thing happened recently with the Brad Pitt, George Clooney movie on Apple TV. I mean, we forgot
Wolves or whatever it was.
Yeah, the Wolves movie. I mean, that movie was not cheap to make, to put those two both in a movie. But then when the final product comes out, the movie was just not good. So they sort of like quietly put out the movie, release it, and then let it kind of go into the wind and kind of don't let that.
Sucks though, like spending that much money for it to just disappear.
Yeah.
God,
I know.
A waste of time and energy and money.
Dax.
But here's the thing. What I know about Disney fans like the stories that they grew up on. Once you start messing with the storylines, it just pisses people off. When you remove the dwarves from the movie, like how did Disney think that was going to go over? That is one of the main focal points of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. How the hell do you get rid of Seven Dwarfs and change it into different characters? That to me, you knew that was bound to be a flop.
Yeah, no, you're right. But also the other hand is if they put out the movie and leave the dwarves in, then all of a sudden Disney is not being, it's a no-win situation. Maybe the best thing is just to not do the movie.
I think the thing is, it's already out there. People are used to it. So my big thing is if you are going to do it, you need to utilize little people to actually play the characters. Because that's when I feel like they get more backlash is when you have I would say, an average sized person playing a little person, that's when people get like pissed. Don't you agree?
Yeah, but what are they? So we're gonna CGI William Dafoe to play a
Yes,
little person. Oh
they've
my
done
God!
that before for like Willy Wonka, and people are like, "What the hell are you doing? Use little people because this is their moment to use their size to their advantage and get these roles." Like, you switching it and CGIing is not cool.
So funny. People are pissed off. You
People
can't
are pissed
win.
off at
You
everything.
can't. Yeah, you can't. You really cannot win. Actually, it's funny. Someone, so I had an account the other day, Dax, of
Mhm.
they reposted my video and they tagged me in the video of Shaq getting into a small car in the city in
Uh,
New York City. It was a video that
Great
went
video,
viral
by
for
the way.
me. Great video. And then people, some people write to me like, "Get out of his face, leave him alone." One guy, like, he didn't really get underneath my skin, but he was like, "Man, look at you, you're so unprofessional." Like, he just went at it, and I was like, he's just so. If you did your research just a little bit, you realize like what I do for a living, who I am, and what's going on. But this person clearly didn't. So, and then I looked the
People
person up.
always want to be the hero to the celebs online.
Oh, they
Get
do.
out of
So the
here.
person I was like, and I looked the person up, and they're a plate. They run a plate. They run a small theater in London. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go back and forth to this guy. I'm gonna tire this guy out and just ruin this guy's not say ruin his life, but and I just like, all right. Then I went at him. Then he came at me. I went at him, and I just wouldn't stop. I was like, you're a loser. Do your research, idiot. If you want to troll, like I'm all about a good trolling, but just do your research a little bit and just come in a little bit intelligent. And the guy basically, I just kept on bothering him. And then he basically blocked me from tagging him in things. And then I went on his personal. I said, listen, if you're going to troll me on my personal Instagram, I'm going to troll you on your personal Instagram. So I would just say, listen, your play sucks. You're terrible. You're robbing your ass. You stop asking your parents friends for money to support your plays. And then he eventually blocked me. So,
Yeah, I saw a funny video the other day, which it was tips for parents how to prep your children to get ready for the real world. And he's like, when they're young, you hang up their artwork on the fridge and you start writing mean comments underneath it just so that they're ready for social media.
it's actually pretty funny. That's actually good. Dax, the number 2 story.
Britney Spears, there was a video that's getting a lot of people talking on her Instagram where she is kind of losing it over her son Jaden's piano playing. So the first video she puts up is him playing on the piano. I think I can play the audio from this. I don't think there'd be an issue with that. But it's her kind of just really impressed with his ability to play the piano. So I'll kind of let it play in the background here. And then the second video is where people are really talking. So you can hear his piano playing here. It's actually pretty good, right?
It's not bad. It's better than me.
I mean, it's better than what I can do. Okay, so she's all excited about his piano playing. This is the next video where caught my attention.
So just play. I felt it in my bones and my heart, my lungs and my ass and my throat and I'm scared. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello. Whoa. Whoa, shit. Oh God. Oh my God.
It was so bizarre, Adam.
That's
like, I am all about people being super proud of their children because I have those moments where I'm just super proud. It was I don't know with Britney anymore. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to report on her anymore. It's everything just weird.
you know what? I'm pitching a new reality show. Wendy Williams and Britney Spears on an island, and let's just see what they do. Let's put them on the ultimate girls trip and see how these girls hang out together. Let's see.
It's like, what is happening? Like,
Two girls that say they shouldn't be in a conservatorship, Wendy Williams and Britney Spears, put them at a resort, the ultimate girls trip, and then let's just film it and just watch that's the reality show.
It'd be the saddest reality show ever.
Britney Spears pushing Wendy in a wheelchair around while Britney keeps singing and dancing, and Wendy's just like, girl.
So
and then,
obviously you can see why this this clip got a lot of people interested. And she has disabled her comments for quite a long time. I think she probably got sick and tired of seeing what people had to say. I feel that Britney just videotapes and puts up whatever at this point. Like there is zero filter on what's going to get posted. She also done a couple of videos of her in this like see-through, sorry, keeps coming up. This like see-through, I don't know, lingerie next to the fireplace. I kept waiting for her like hair to catch on fire. Did you see those videos?
No.
She was
yes.
like twerking, but like inside of a lit fireplace. And I'm like, Britney, please stop. Just stop, because you are literally going to catch your hair on fire. And it's probably going to go up really fast with all the hairspray and stuff. I'm very worried about her.
I am worried about it too. It's unique. All right, Dax, the number one story of the week.
Number one story, no surprise here. Wendy Williams back on top of the list. Everyone's been talking about Wendy this week. A lot of going around in the news, whether or not she is mentally stable enough to not have this guardianship. And so, of course, when we talk Wendy, we bring in our good friend Jess Finn from the U.S. Sun. She is the Wendy expert. Jess, thanks for joining us. And can you get us all caught up on what the hell is going on with Wendy?
Oh, it's been a Wendy week for sure. So this kind of all started to unfold apparently late last week. There was a adult protective services report, kind of like an elder abuse report, filed for Wendy late last week. That report, the basis of that report is a number of different things, but one of the things that I learned through at the U.S. Sun was that allegedly her guardian sent her to Miami last month to visit her father, who's 94 years old, for his birthday. And
which was a huge win, by the way. I loved seeing this because I knew how bad she wanted to go see her dad for his birthday. So seeing the photos of her with him, I was like, that's a win.
Absolutely. I mean, Wendy was saying initially that the guardian wasn't going to let her go. She was crying in interviews, saying that the guardian wasn't going to allow her to go visit her elderly father for his birthday, and she was really upset about it. So it was a huge win that she got to go. But apparently, allegedly, the guardian sent her with a credit card to Florida, to Miami for her father's birthday with no money on it. So she gets to Florida, and this credit card that she has that was given to her by the guardian is declined. And so somebody else on the trip with her had to pay for all of her expenses. And apparently, allegedly, and this is not, this is what was told to me from my sources, very allegedly, that if you send somebody on a trip without any money, right, and they don't have access to, they're not at home, they don't have their food and shelter at home, that it's elder abuse, that you can't send somebody somewhere without any way to take care of themselves. So that was part of the impetus behind this elder abuse report that was filed late last week. Now, fast forward to Monday, the NYPD does a welfare check on Wendy, who's, as we know, she's been living in this senior living facility on the west side of New York City. And she has claimed numerous times that it's basically a luxury prison. She's in the memory care unit. She is on a locked floor. It's called a secure floor. From the descriptions of where she is. And so she can't come and go as she pleases. And so on Monday, the NYPD did a welfare check on her in connection to this adult protective services report that was filed late last week. She had sent a note out the window that said Wendy help, that a paparazzi had picked up. And it was this very dramatic scene that the NYPD came and checked on her, and they ended up calling an ambulance and bringing her to a hospital.
Yeah, Jess, hold on real quick. So I saw the video of her walking into the ambulance. There was photographers there. There was multiple photographers there. My only question is, if she's so with it and sort of, in a good place, so she's claiming, why wasn't she answering questions when the photographers were trying to talk to her, trying to get her attention? That's what I was curious about, Dax. If you saw the video, it's like, hey, Wendy, are you okay? And she didn't even acknowledge the photographers that are walking her to the ambulance. But then all of a sudden, the next day, she goes in the Breakfast Club and starts talking, which I thought was kind of strange. But go on.
I feel like she has good days and bad days, in my opinion. And one day she can be totally coherent in there, and the next day I'm like, is she there? I can't tell with this one.
I agree with both of you. I think she does have good days and bad days. It was a bit of a scene, so she might have been like off her game. I mean, she also, as we know, she has lymphedema, which is like a really painful condition where her feet swell. She was walking, she was unassisted. She wasn't using a scooter. So who knows why she might have been just focusing on trying to get to the ambulance without falling.
Sure.
We don't know. But so she gets brought to a hospital where they evaluate her, and she takes this cognitive test. It's a test of 10 different questions. And she allegedly aces it with flying colors. She answers all the questions correctly. These are really simple questions like, what's your name? When were you born? Who's the president? Those kinds of things. And she passes it with flying colors. And from some of my reporting at the US Sun this week, the Guardian was there during the evaluation, during this mental evaluation, and was trying to allegedly throw Wendy off her game. We don't know exactly the nature of what the Guardian was doing, but she was trying to interject during this evaluation. There's a lot of money on the line when it comes to Wendy's guardianship. Wendy has millions of dollars in the bank, and there's a lot of financial incentive for somebody to take somebody on like this as a guardian. Certainly, I wouldn't want to do it for free. It is a big headache for her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey. So Wendy has been at the hospital since Monday night, since Monday, and her guardianship attorney, who we reported on yesterday, Sadatu Salami, had filed. She basically didn't want Wendy being released to the facility she's been at because it's a really restrictive facility and she can't leave. And Wendy's complained about this ad nauseum. So she really advocated for Wendy to stay at the hospital. She filed an emergency. We reported at the US Sun that she filed an emergency petition to get Wendy released to a different facility, a less restrictive facility. Wendy has been in the hospital since Monday. She was released last night. She ended up being released back to the facility she's in that she doesn't like. That's this locked. She's on this locked floor. So that is what has happened. And, in the time being, the emergency petition to get her to a different accommodation was filed yesterday. So, of course, these things are going to take a little while to get approved, if it gets approved at all. But on her way back.
I was going to say, I saw a report come out that there was a police report filed about her being kidnapped. Is there any truth to that?
So on her way back from the hospital to the living facility, her niece, Alex Finney, took her to dinner in NoHo. And there was this report that the living facility filed a kidnapping police report against Alex for taking Wendy to dinner, not bringing her straight from the hospital to the facility. This was a report that was made last night. This was the police report would have been filed with the NYPD. And so since that story broke last night, I've been calling and emailing the NYPD to try and get some sort of clarification about what went down. And the NYPD, just before I hopped on with you guys today, responded and said they have no information about any report being made for kidnapping for Wendy by the living facility that she's been staying at. So this report, which was like the top headline last night, doesn't seem to have it's not really making a ton of sense. It doesn't, the niece and Wendy are trying to make the point that she's really in this restrictive guardianship. And so of course it's like, oh my God, the living facility filed a police report that her niece kidnapped her. That's so messed up. She just went out for dinner. Like, of course, this makes great news and is a huge headline. But the NYPD is like, we don't have any information about that. There is no police report filed for a kidnapping charge on Wendy Williams last night. That just doesn't exist. So I spoke to someone last night and this morning close to Alex, who was like, yeah, they seem to like suggest that maybe the NYPD wasn't going to confirm this information. So I knew something was off when I had that conversation last night with this person. So I don't know. I don't know if this was like just a PR stunt, like, oh, this police report was filed on a kidnapping charge against me for taking my aunt to dinner. I really, you know, I can't say yet because it's still very much developing, but the NYPD denying that there is a kidnapping charge against Alex for Wendy is super suspect.
So, Jess, with her passing this cognitive test with flying colors, is this going to help her out? Is she going to be able to use that report at court to be able to get out of this guardianship?
So there is supposed to be a separate evaluation of Wendy that has nothing to do with this kind of like, you can almost like think of this as an emergency evaluation. There's a separate evaluation that the Guardian has set up that's involved with the Lifetime documentary lawsuit. That's a whole nother thing. But I've been told that, yes, this evaluation absolutely can be used in court. Initially, earlier in the week, it was like, oh, well, this is a different kind of evaluation. It's not, can't be used. But yes, I've been told that this is something that absolutely can be used to help get her out of the guardianship. But as we know, the guardianship judge, well, as we know, as I'm telling you, I'll tell you, the guardianship judge is really pissed off at Wendy for speaking out to the media as much as she has been. And she sent an email to Wendy's representatives that Wendy is trying to poison the jury pool. And if she wants a jury trial to be released from this guardianship, she needs to stop poisoning the jury pool. And that is an email that I've seen myself. And, you know, so who knows if this is just shenanigans, this kidnapping report, if this is something made up and a PR stunt, it's going to be a problem for Wendy. I don't think
that's so weird for the judge to, in my opinion, weird for the judge to say that, because if Wendy is really actually being held against her own will and she is doing good and she could be out on her own, why would she not speak up? Why would she be told to keep quiet? Like, that's so weird. It's tough when it comes to money and people, and you start to wonder, where are motives? You know what I'm saying? Where is it? Someone being greedy, or are they really out for Wendy's best interest? I don't know.
Yeah.
How does this thing all solve though? Like, how do you guys predict how this kind of comes to a conclusion? The whole Wendy Williams saga, is it an opinion of the general public are we trying to fight for, or is it just something that it's so internal that we'll really know the truth of what's going on there?
I mean, there's so much public pressure right now, like with the Britney case, like, you know, we can argue about should Britney be in a conservatorship or not till we're blue in the face, but she's dancing half naked with knives on Instagram. And, you know, so we don't know if, you know, that conservatorship helped her or not. Wendy's guardianship, there's a lot of pressure, and, you know, and who are we to say if somebody should be, you know, held, to protect themselves when, you know, it's Wendy's money, it's Wendy's life. If Wendy wants to go get drunk and fall asleep in a ditch, there are plenty of people out there who do that every day. If she wants to blow through her money, then there's plenty of people that do that every day. They're not in guardianships. And the reason why they're not in guardianships is because they have no money. Like, these guardians are professional guardians, and there's like a nonprofit, or I found out yesterday, there's a nonprofit organization to represent people who have no money, but like this is a professional guardian who does this, you know, for a living. So she, you know, she's only going to take on people with money. So, you know, it's
interesting.
Yeah, someone asked me the other day about this, and I said, honestly, it's such a touchy subject because there's really no answer. Should she be in a guardianship or should she not? I mean, like you said, Jess, I think it comes down to it's their life. They could kind of do what they want. It's her money, but I don't have an answer because I'm not there with her all the time. Do you have, you know, obviously you have sources. This is a weird question, Jess, but do you trust your source? Like, because are they with them? Like, how, you don't tell me who they are, but like, it's a good source.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have a ton of sources on Wendy. I mean,
okay.
And I trust them all pretty well. Like, I mean, I've dealt with, there's been Wendy sources that have come and go through the years. Like, she had some people in her orbit before she went into this like living facility, right? Who, when she was filming the Lifetime documentary, you know, I couldn't trust anything they told me because they, you know, were lying out of both sides of their faces. And that's the really complicated thing about covering somebody like Wendy, because you never know if she's even cognitive enough to be relaying information that people in her orbit are telling me. But right now my sources are great, but there have been times when covering Wendy that I really couldn't trust the people I was speaking with. for sure.
right.
Jess, thank you again for joining us. Guys, definitely head over to the U.S. Sun to follow all of Jess's reporting on Wendy Williams. There is constantly news stories popping up. She is the main reporter that is just killing it when it comes to Wendy Williams across all the different platforms. Jess, thank you again for helping us out with number one. It's obviously a big story, and you got all the details that we can't even keep up on. And if you guys want to follow us on social media, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all of it at Hollywood Raw. Follow me at Dax Holt. Follow Adam at Adam Glyn. Follow Jess at Jess. What's your Instagram handle?
Jessica Finn NYC.
There you go. All right, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.
Next week.
What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more where that came from.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily.
Hurry up. Come on, let's go.